Alright, so we have talked about chapter 7 where we have this normal distribution, this nice bell-shaped curve. And what we're going to look at this week is what happens if we take a sample from a population. What if we want to know, is this sample unusual? And that is a really, really important question, basically setting the foundation for the rest of the semester. So now we're really getting into the meat of the course. If you look up from the school data again, I promise we will start using some other data here pretty soon. But if you look up in the school data, some of these variables, if you do some histograms, some are normally distributed, some aren't. So if you look at the percent that are Hispanic, it's definitely not normally distributed. There's a very skewed right distribution. Lots of schools have very few Hispanic students in them, and then it kind of goes over to the right. And then is for the weekly activity, this practice that we're going to have, I have an exercise that I've actually done for you as well, and I want to show some graphics. So let's say we look at these 3,000 whatever schools, and we look at samples of size 10. So randomly select 10 schools and calculate their average percent that are Hispanic. So just take those 10 schools, we have our 10 different schools, we average the percent that are Hispanic, not even weighted for students, just average that number, and see how those are distributed. And so we get a distribution like this. Still skewed right, but more condensed, right? Because now we've got 10 different schools in there. So they're not as spread out, because if we have this outlier way over here, which we had with the original distribution, now that's got 9 other schools in there with it, so the average will be pulled in. So what's interesting is, what if we look at samples of size 20 or 50 or even 100? See, by the time you get 100 schools in there, the mean of that sample, it can't be far over to the right or way over to the left. It can't. It's got to be right around where the mean of the full population is. Like 100 schools is going to be pretty representative. Now, it's not perfect, right? Some are a little bit left, some are a little bit right, but it's not very spread out. What's interesting is if you look at all of these samples, 10, 20, 50, 100, sample sizes I should say, the means of all of these distributions are actually the same. They're the same as the population mean. But obviously the standard deviations are different. And that is what Chapter 8 is all about. And actually that's the theory we're going to use all through Chapter 9, 10, and in fact 11 and 12 and 13 also are very similar. So they're looking at, when we take a sample, what can we know about this sample? What does this sample tell us about the population? And so that's what we're going to learn about this week in Chapter 8, and then use that foundation for the rest of the semester.